Chef Mike from Roth Living in Minnesota talking about the Wolf Convection Steam Oven on Convection Humid Mode. Now, traditional ovens have an internal venting system that removes air from the cavity during cooking or baking. In a Wolf Convection Steam Oven, that vent is blocked on Convection Humid. And what that allows is for all of the moisture of the food item being cooked to be maintained in the cavity of the oven while cooking with dry heat. The benefit of that is you'll get a moist interior on either proteins or quick breads while having a perfectly brown crust because all of the moisture is retained in the cavity. Items that perform particularly well in this mode include lasagna or casseroles. In a traditional oven, you would have covered them to prevent them from drying out and browned them at the end. In the convection humid setting in the Wolf Convection Steam Oven, you don't have to cover them. You'll have perfectly cooked casseroles with a nice brown top. Other items that do well are bone-in poultry, meatloaf, quick breads, and muffins. And if you want to make sure the center of those quick breads is perfectly cooked, you can use the probe in the last 5 minutes. Set it to 195 degrees, and you'll have a perfectly browned exterior with no worry about that center being under-baked. Now, let's cook something on the Convection Humid Mode. We have our bone-in turkey breast here. I've stuffed some sage leaves underneath the skin and seasoned it all over with salt and pepper. Now we're going to put the temperature probe in so we get an accurate measurement of how the breast is cooking in this Convection Humid Mode. I'm going to set the pan in, I'll insert the probe, and then I'll make sure I can show you where it is. If you remember from our overview video, the probe only measures in the last 3/4 of an inch, and the entire metal portion of the probe should be covered if possible. If you think about a chicken breast or a turkey breast, it's thinner on one end and thicker on the other. So you want to come in from the thinner edge to the thicker edge to get an accurate measurement of the internal temperature while cooking. You want to be careful not to hit the bone, and you don't want to push through the bottom because that may give you an inaccurate temperature measurement. So if you can see this, it's just into the thickest part of the breast. We'll put the pan in the oven, and then we'll insert the probe into the little door on the side of the oven. Now, we're not preheating in this particular mode. If your oven was hot and you need to insert the probe, make sure you use a utensil like a spoon or a fork just to open that door so you can insert that probe without touching that warm door. Now, from the quick start menu, we're going to select Convection Humid. Tells us rack position 2. We're going to use the default temperature of 330 degrees, but this next icon back, I want to adjust the probe temperature. So I highlight that, and let's adjust that to 165 degrees, which is the safe minimum cooking temperature for poultry, and start the oven. Now, we're not going to set a timer for this because we're using the probe to tell us when the item is perfectly cooked. Now, putting that probe in there in just the right spot is important. If the oven tells you in 10 minutes that it's done, that doesn't pass the logic test, and it may have been that the probe was poking through the bottom of the breast or was maybe against the bone. So just make sure when you're using that probe that the probe temperature looks like it's coming up in a reasonable manner so that you know your item is indeed done and it passes the logic test. When we come back, we'll take a look at how this breast cooked in Convection Humid Mode. And we're back with our turkey breast out of the Convection Steam Oven. You can see that it has beautiful shine to it and nice brown color, evenly cooked throughout. We'll take the probe out. Now let's make a couple of simple cuts to cut it off the bone. Make one right there. One right there. And one right here. Now I should be able to slide this breast off the bone like that. And now we can make cuts across the grain so that each slice has some of the crispy skin, some of the herbs, and a beautiful piece of the moist turkey breast. You can see how moist this turkey is in the center. I'm just going to open up those couple of pieces, and you can see this moist turkey, super juicy, beautiful for the plate. Wonderful. Ready to go to the table. Come back to this Roth Living YouTube channel for more videos on cooking with your Wolf Convection steam oven.